Ever read a testimonial that just like totally blew you away? You know the kind I mean,
Yeah.
where you're like, I got to get me some of that.
Uh-huh, yeah. Like instantly convinced.
Yeah, exactly. Well, today we're going to deep dive into how to get those kind of testimonials.
The super persuasive kind.
You got it. And get this, our source material is all about getting testimonials after speaking events.
Which is interesting because you'd think you'd just ask right away, right?
Right. But this guy, Elliot, he's like a speaking expert. He says to hold your horses.
Yeah, he does.
We've got some awesome excerpts from his stuff. And what really hit me was this idea of like a Goldilocks zone for asking.
Not too soon, not too late, huh?
You nailed it. But you know, the cool part is you can use this for pretty much any feedback situation. It's not just for speakers.
Totally. Elliot's whole thing is about being strategic, but also like really understanding where people are coming from.
Yeah, he's not just saying go get testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
He's showing us how to help people give us really awesome feedback. And it all starts with, get this, the power of the pause.
Ooh, I like that. The power of the pause.
Right. So tell me, what's the deal with waiting to ask? Why not just strike while the iron's hot?
Think of it like a good wine. You know, you gotta let it breathe a bit.
Okay, I'm with you.
Same thing here. Elliot says wait like 24, 48 hours after you do your thing, whatever it is. Give people time to process, you know?
Let those initial reactions kind of settle down.
Exactly. So they can really figure out what resonated, like the good stuff that really stuck with them.
So it's like getting the deeper insights instead of those surface level first impressions.
100%. And then when you do reach out, Elliot has this whole approach he calls, wait for it, the gentle nudge.
Okay, gentle nudge. I'm intrigued. Spill the beans.
So say you just gave this killer presentation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of blasting out a generic, please give me a testimonial, Elliot's like, hey, name, awesome connecting with you and your team yesterday. You know, acknowledging the event.
Personalizing it a bit.
Right. Then you're like curious to hear how the session landed with you guys. What key takeaways really stood out?
Ooh, very clever.
Yeah.
So you're not demanding, you're inviting.
Exactly. Way more engaging.
Feels more genuine, too, like you actually care.
And here's where it gets even more interesting. What if someone's like, yeah, I loved it, but then they go silent?
Oh, I hate when that happens. Like, they want to give you something, but they just don't know how to put it into words.
Elliot actually suggests, and this might sound kind of wild, but offering them a template or even like drafting a starting point based on what they've already told you.
Now that's interesting. But wouldn't that be kind of like putting words in their mouth?
I can see why you'd say that, but remember, the whole goal is to help them, you know, make it easier for them to get those thoughts out.
Okay, so it's more about removing obstacles than like telling them what to say.
1,000%. They're always in control, always free to change it up. Elliot's just trying to give them a jump start.
So what does this magical template look like?
Oh, it's super simple, but effective. Benefit, specific takeaway, call to action. Boom.
Okay, I like it. Straight to the point. Can you give me an example?
Totally. Let's say it's about, I don't know, time management. You could be like, your name session gave our team some seriously valuable insights on time management.
Okay, so you're highlighting the benefit right off the bat.
You got it. Then you hit them with a specific takeaway, like, we walked away with practical strategies we can use right away.
So they know exactly what they gained.
Bingo. And then to wrap it up, you add that call to action, something like, can't recommend this enough to any team struggling with time.
Ooh, that's good. Short, sweet, and super convincing. I could practically hear the enthusiasm in those words.
Right. And you know what's wild? This ties right back into that whole Goldilocks zone thing we were talking about.
Full circle, baby. But how exactly does timing fit into all this?
Well, Elliot makes a big point about not asking too soon. Like, when the experience is so fresh, they haven't even had time to digest it.
Makes sense.
But then on the flip side, you don't want to wait so long that they've lost that initial excitement.
Right, so you got to strike that perfect balance.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you know when you've hit it? What are the signs that someone's ready to give you that golden feedback?
That's where things get a little tricky.
Ooh, cliffhanger.
Aha. Gotta keep you listening.
Okay, fine, you win. But we will get to the bottom of this timing mystery.
Oh, we will. But first, a word from our sponsors. Just kidding. We'll be right back with more on how to get those amazing testimonials. Stay tuned.
Don't go anywhere.
Well, it's kind of like you got to be a detective a little bit, you know, look for clues.
Okay, so like what? What kind of clues are we talking about?
During the actual event itself, see who's really engaged. Like, are they asking smart questions? Do they seem genuinely stoked about the content?
So it's not just time. It's also about how they're vibing with the material.
Exactly. And then after, watch for follow-up. Maybe they hit you up with more questions or comments, or they're sharing what they learned on social media.
I see, I see. So you're looking for signs that it really resonated with them.
You got it. Like, they're not just satisfied, they're like inspired.
That's like you're reading between the lines, right?
Totally. And here's the thing, even if someone doesn't immediately jump at the chance to give a testimonial, it doesn't mean they weren't impacted, you know?
Right, right. Maybe they just need more time to process it all.
Or maybe they're just not comfortable putting themselves out there like that.
Yeah, good point.
Hmm.
Got to be respectful of that.
Absolutely. And, thinking about this whole process, it's kind of cool how Elliot flips the script on testimonials.
What do you mean?
Well, usually we're all like, how can I get people to say nice things about me? It's all about us.
Yeah, kind of self-serving.
But Elliot's way is different. He puts the focus on the person giving the testimonial.
Interesting.
It's like he wants to empower them to tell their story, make it feel authentic and meaningful to them.
Whoa, that's deep. So it's not about getting testimonials, it's about helping them happen.
You nailed it. And I think that's why this works so well. When you genuinely care about their experience and you give them the space to express themselves, their words just hit different.
It's like you're not just collecting endorsements, you're collecting stories.
And those stories, man, they connect with people way more than a generic, this product is great.
Totally. It's all about those emotional connections, those aha moments, the real-life impact.
Couldn't agree more. Those are the testimonials that really pack a punch.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening. There's like a real art to this, you know? It's not just about asking the right questions. It's about creating the right environment.
Well said. It's about trust and understanding.
And it's not just for speaking or business stuff either, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about relationships, creative projects, even just getting feedback on an idea.
It's like a whole new way of thinking about feedback. Instead of, tell me how great I am, it's, how can I create a space where you feel safe to share your honest thoughts?
Exactly. Whether it's good or bad, it's all valuable.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into Eliot's wisdom, what's like a thought-provoking question we can leave our listeners with? Something to really get them thinking about how to apply all this.
That's a good one. How about this? We've talked a lot about getting those awesome, positive testimonials. But what about the flip side?
Ooh, the not-so-glowing feedback. That's a good one.
How do we handle those tougher critiques? The feedback that might sting a little.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. Because, like, you don't want to just shut down or get defensive when someone's not singing your praises.
Right. And actually, all this stuff we've been talking about, it's even more important when the feedback's a little rough.
Okay, I see that.
Yeah?
So, like, how do you create that space where people feel okay being honest, even if it's not all sunshine and rainbows?
Well, first off, that power of the pause we talked about, that's huge.
Yeah, makes sense. Give everyone a chance to cool down a little.
Totally. And remember, even when feedback's tough, it usually comes from a good place,
Like they want you to do better.
Exactly. If you can remember that, it makes it way easier to hear.
Good point. So instead of getting all defensive, you got to be open to it.
Exactly. And maybe in those situations, the gentle nudge is less about suggesting words and more about just making them feel safe, to be honest.
Okay, so how do you do that?
You could say something like, I really value your opinion and I'm trying to grow here, so even if it's tough to say, I'd love to hear your honest feedback on, and then you mention the specific area.
Ah, that's good. It shows you're not just looking for a pat on the back.
Right. You're serious about improving, and that can make them feel more comfortable being straight with you.
Totally. Makes them feel like their opinion really matters.
And at the end of the day, all feedback, even the hard stuff, it's a gift,
Yeah, it's how we learn and get better.
Exactly. And I think that's a great takeaway from all this, right? We've been talking about testimonials, but really it's all about the power of feedback.
Totally. Good or bad, it helps us grow.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So I guess the big takeaway here is it's not just about what people say, it's about how we create a space for them to say it.
Beautifully put. Whether it's praise or criticism, it's all about approaching it with empathy and a genuine desire to learn.
Yeah, that's what makes all the difference. Well, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into Eliot's world.
It's been a good one.
For sure. And hopefully everyone listening has learned a thing or two about getting more meaningful feedback.
Absolutely. And maybe even inspiring some truly awesome testimonials along the way.
That's the dream. All right, that's a wrap on this deep dive, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.